Amir was not your average treasure hunter. A quiet schoolteacher in a peaceful village nestled near the base of ancient hills. He lived a simple life with one eccentric passion: metal detecting. Every weekend, while most villagers rested or tended to chores, Amir could be seen wandering the hillside with his old metal detector, headphones pressed over his ears, listening for faint beeps that might reveal hidden stories of the past. His love for history stemmed from his childhood, listening to bedtime tales from his grandfather about old kings, lost caravans, and forgotten treasures buried deep beneath their land. Though most dismissed these as myths, Amir believed there was truth in the tales. Over the years, he had collected rusty nails, broken coins, and even a few old silver trinkets. But nothing substantial until one crisp autumn afternoon. That day began like any other. The sky was clear, and the air was fresh with the scent of dry leaves. Amir hiked to a Lestradan slope on the edge of the hills, an area he had marked in his notebook months earlier but never explored. It was harder to reach, with thick brush and uneven ground, but something about it called to him. His detector buzzed lightly as he swept it across the soil until suddenly, it let out a sharp, persistent beep. His heart jumped. He passed the detector back and forth, confirming the signal. It was real. Dropping to his knees, he began to dig carefully. At about 2 feet deep, the tip of his shovel hit something solid. Brushing away the dirt with trembling fingers, he revealed the top of a clay jar, ancient, weathered, and sealed with hardened clay. The jar was surprisingly heavy, which only fueled his curiosity, but the surprise didn't end there. As he widened the hole, he noticed the edge of another jar buried nearby, then another. They weren't randomly scattered, they seemed arranged, like someone had placed them intentionally centuries ago. A pattern emerged, like a burial or storage ritual from a time long gone. Amir sat back, stunned. He was alone on the hillside with what looked like an untouched treasure site. He stared at the first jar, unsure whether to open it there or wait. Curiosity won. Using a flat rock, he carefully chipped away the clay seal. When he finally pried the lid off, a golden glow reflected in his eyes. Inside, packed tightly in cloth and straw, were rectangular gold bars, ingots, each stamped with strange symbols he didn't recognize. The weight of their worth, both historical and monetary, made his hands tremble. Amir glanced around. The hills were silent, but a feeling of urgency crept in. He had found something incredible, perhaps too incredible to handle alone. He read the jars, marked the spot with subtle signs only he would notice, and quickly left the hillside. Back at home that evening, he couldn't eat. He barely slept. His mind raced with questions. Who buried those jars? How old were they? And most importantly, what should he do now? Amir had stumbled upon something far greater than a simple coin or relic. He had unearthed a piece of forgotten history, but the real challenge was only beginning. The next morning, Amir returned to the hillside before dawn, armed with gloves, a flashlight, and a stronger shovel. The entire night had been a storm of thoughts and possibilities, and now he needed answers. The chill in the air did little to calm his nerves as he knelt beside the markers he had left the day before. Slowly and carefully, he began to dig again. This time, he uncovered all 5 jars. They were arranged in a semicircle, each sealed in the same way, thick clay plugs hardened with time. One by one, Amir opened them. The second jar held gold jewelry, necklaces, earrings, and rings, many encrusted with tiny colored stones. The craftsmanship was unlike anything he'd ever seen, delicate and precise, clearly belonging to a wealthy or royal lineage. The third jar contained small golden figurines, animals, human forms, and miniature tools, possibly ceremonial objects or idols. The fourth and fifth jars were filled with more ingots, each stamped and stacked carefully, as if they had been meant for transport or offering. Amir stared in disbelief. This was not just a random stash. This was a treasure trove, carefully preserved, hidden intentionally, and never meant to be found by just anyone. The legend the village elder had shared days before suddenly returned to his mind. The lost caravan that never made it to the Mountain King's court. He realized the implications. This wasn't just gold. It was a historical discovery that could rewrite parts of local history. But the weight of that realization brought fear. What would happen if this got into the wrong hands? He had heard stories of relic hunters, corrupt officials, and looters who destroyed more than they preserved. Amir needed advice. He wrapped a single small figurine in cloth and brought it to his friend Faraz, a local history teacher known for his deep knowledge of ancient civilizations. Faraz examined the figurine with wide eyes. He confirmed that the artifact could easily date back 1,000 years, maybe more, and matched the style of a mysterious, undocumented trade culture that scholars had debated for decades. When Amir revealed that he had found several jars of similar items, Faraz was speechless. But caution quickly returned to his face. "You can't keep this to yourself forever," he said, "but you also can't trust just anyone with it. This is bigger than both of us." They debated what to do next. Report it to the authorities. Keep the jars hidden while documenting the site. They agreed that preserving the site and preventing immediate exposure was the best option for now. But secrets don't stay hidden long in small villages. 2 days later, As Amir returned to the site to take photographs, he noticed fresh boot prints near his digging spot. Someone had been there. Had they seen him, followed him? That night, while walking home, Amir noticed a car idling near his house, a vehicle he didn't recognize. The window rolled down slightly, but no one stepped out. The treasure, once buried safely beneath the earth, was now drawing eyes. Unwelcome ones. Amir had uncovered something priceless, but in doing so, he had disturbed something fragile, the balance between discovery and danger. The unearthing had begun, but so had the consequences. Amir's discovery had quickly become a burden, with people snooping around the hillside and a strange vehicle staking out his home. The sense of wonder he once felt had turned into anxiety. He had moved the jars into a hidden crawl space beneath his house, wrapping each one in thick blankets and tarps to shield them from humidity and curious eyes. But he knew this was not a permanent solution. The treasure was too valuable and culturally to be kept in secrecy. The breaking point came one night when Amir returned home to find his front door slightly ajar. Inside, drawers had been opened, and papers scattered. Someone had been searching for the jars. Fortunately, he had anticipated this and kept them hidden, but it was clear he could no longer keep this quiet. The next morning, he went to the regional archaeological office with Farahs and presented one of the ingots along with photos of the other jars and their contents. At first, the officials were skeptical, but the weight of the gold, the unmistakable age of the objects, and the precision of Amir's documentation left no room for doubt. Within days, a government archaeological team descended on the site. They cordoned off the area and began a formal excavation. Experts were stunned. The arrangement of the jars, the symbolism stamped into the ingots, and the variety of ceremonial jewelry indicated the site had belonged to an elite trade expedition, likely part of a forgotten ancient route between empires. The lost caravan legend wasn't just folklore, it was history. News spread fast. Television crews, journalists, and historians swarmed the village. Amir, once just the local treasure hunter, was hailed as a hero for preserving the site. Instead of selling the gold on the black market, he was offered interviews, awards, and even a national medal for civic responsibility and historical preservation. But more than fame, Amir found something deeper, a sense of purpose. The government established a local museum to house the artifacts, built not far from the village school where Amir taught. He was invited to join the Historical Preservation Board and began working with archaeologists, using his detector to help uncover additional fragments near the site. The village itself changed. With the influx of scholars and tourists, the local economy blossomed. Roads were repaired, guest houses built, and the school received funding for new books and equipment. Faraz was offered a lecturing post at a regional university, thanks to his expertise on the civilization the treasure belonged to. One evening, as Amir stood in the museum's central gallery, gazing at the no-secure jars under protective glass, a young boy walked up and asked, "Did you really find all of this with just that old detector?" Amir smiled and nodded. Yes, but it wasn't just the detector. It was curiosity, respect for the past, and knowing when to do the right thing. The boy looked up in awe. "I want to find treasure too." Amir placed a hand on his shoulder and replied, "Then remember, the real treasure isn't gold, it's the story behind it." And with that, Amir knew his journey had come full circle, from treasure seeker to guardian of history.